Today, on Be Something Wonderful, I've been imagining and affirming my wish fulfilled. What am I missing? I am your host, Tom Kearin, and this is the Be Something Wonderful studio of higher consciousness, where we help you level up and become the best version of yourself. Creators, welcome back and good morning here from the studios of Be Something Wonderful here in Las Vegas. We have a big video today. I want to thank those of you who attended our second live stream of the year. It was big yesterday that we broadcast on the membership channel. What a great unfolding that was. That session, that live event is now available for viewing on the membership channel. We tackled a lot of questions during that live stream. And back to back, we released a big video on the membership channel. That's also now available. And we released a short video of that video that we released yesterday on the membership channel that's now available for viewing on the public channel. So if you're interested, if you're a member, thank you for joining. If you're interested in becoming a member, check out the link below. But today, on the public channel, we have a massive video for you today. Two different questions really relating to the same thing. Tom, what am I missing? Right? This particular subscriber said, why else would you affirm and persist in your wish fulfilled than to bring it in the 3D world? Right? This whole idea to get something. Right? And then another one of you asked, Tom, how do I move from the fear that I'm going to feel? I have fear to move to my identity, that preferred identity, for fear that I won't get what I want. How do I get over that? What am I missing? Well, we're going to cover these questions today and more. First, let's start with this. Remember, when you say, am I missing something? Well, that's exactly what you're missing. You're missing the belief that you're already that which you want to be. It's about remembering that. Remember, why do you affirm and persist? Why do you do techniques and processes? It's not to get anything out of the 3D world. The 3D world can't give you anything. That's a projection from within you. That's what keeps it separate from you. Believing that it's going to that you want to bring something into the 3D world, that you want to get something from the 3D world. What we want to do is experience what we already know within experientially, physically. That's what persisting and affirming is about. That's why you feel exhausted, because you're trying to get something from the 3D world. You're trying to bring something into the 3D world. And there is no 3D world. There's nothing out there. That's why the scientist John Wheeler said there's no out there. It's already within you. So all processes are to remember that, to recognize that it's already within you, to put your awareness on that reality that's already real, that's already there. That's what we're talking about. So why? To remember that it's not about bringing or getting anything it's not about bringing anything into or getting anything from 3D reality. That it's not about manifesting or creating things. But what is it about then? It's to remember that you are all things. It's to remember that you are all that is. It's to remember that you are divine royalty, that it's your birthright, that the kingdom's already yours. By everything you want is yours by your birthright. So there's no conditions on fulfillment. That's what you're saying, that there's a condition. Right? Why else would we affirm and persist than to bring something in the 3D world that it's conditional on that affirming? It's conditional on that persisting. It's not conditioned on that. It's already yours. But that persisting and affirming, those processes, allow you to become aware of it. It's already there. It's not required. Right? This is big today. Let's hit this. Imagining, assuming, and affirming your wish fulfilled is to remember that it's already fulfilled. Do you get this? That's what they're all about. It's to remember who you really are. The experience of exhaustion that you have, that you mentioned, comes from assuming and believing otherwise. That's why you're exhausted. Otherwise, you wouldn't be exhausted with persisting and assuming in fulfillment, because you're already fulfilled. But the experiencing exhaustion comes from you're assuming and believing otherwise. You're assuming that you have to get it, that you have to attract it, that you have to manifest it. The techniques and processes are to remember to be, and that you already are, the creator and source of your own reality, rather than the observer of and reactor to it. Do you see it? All of that question, what am I missing? Because you're observing reality and reacting to it, as opposed to being the creator and source of your own reality. You see yourself as the observer and reactor to that reality, and that's exhausting. It's exhausting to imagine, assume, and affirm, and then to observe that nothing changed, that nothing manifested, and then to react to those observed contrary conditions that you judge to be contrary conditions. That's why it's exhausting. Let me say it again. It's exhausting to imagine, assume, and affirm, and then observe that nothing changed, that nothing manifested, and then to react to those observed, judged contrary conditions as nothing happening. Do you see it? That's what's exhausting. And this was a similar question from another subscriber. I have a fear of being unable to be or accept my desired version of myself. Fear of failure feels impossible. What am I missing to shift out of this? Nothing. There's nothing to shift out of. It's to recognize that you're already in that reality. That allow the fear to be there. Recognize that it's there. And then move to that end, your desired end, because you're already there. Do you see? You feel like you're missing something, that you got to do something with those thoughts and those fearful thoughts and those fearful and doubtful feelings. You don't have to do anything with those. You don't have to shift out of them. You're not in them. They're not reality. They're thoughts and feelings about reality. Just leave them. Leave that thought of impossibility. And when you do, you're missing nothing because you're already there. To imagine that I'm already that which I desire to be. That's all that's what you're saying is impossible. It's impossible to imagine that I'm already that which I desire to be. Well, you are. So you're saying it's impossible that I've already been given and already are everything. That I am divine royalty, the Son of God, unimaginably blessed and worthy as my birthright. That's what you're saying is impossible, but that's true whether you believe it or not. Do you see it? So you can just allow that to be there and move to the truth that that's the truth no matter what, whether you believe it or not, whether you think it's possible or not. That's reality. All things are possible. So you think it's impossible, but to imagine that I'm already that person I desire to be, that I have already been given and already are everything, that I am divine royalty, the Son of God, unimaginably blessed and worthy as my birthright, that's natural. That's your natural state of being. Fear, failure, impossible may feel normal to you, but they are not natural. That's natural. To imagine that you're already that person you desire to be is natural. To know that you are already everything is natural. To know that you're divine royalty, the Son of God, is natural. To know that you're unimaginably blessed and worthy as your birthright. There are no conditions, there's no requirements, there's nothing else you need to do, is natural. But fear, failure, the idea that it's impossible may feel normal to you. But they are not natural. That's why it doesn't feel good. That's why it feels bad. It feels normal. And you confuse that feeling of normal with reality. It's not reality just because it feels normal. What's natural is reality. Your natural God-given right, birthright, to have the kingdom. It's already been given to you. Everything you want. Being source of your reality. And having everything is natural. It's your nature. That's what natural means, your nature. Asking his name means asking his nature. What is his name? I am. Asking that name. In other words, recognize that you're already everything you want to be. That's powerful. The belief that you're missing something and that you have to bargain to meet certain conditions for fulfillment is exhausting. right? You feel like you have to bargain with reality, bargain with God, bargain with infinity. I've got to persist and affirm and imagine or I won't get what I want. That keeps you in that fear and lack, right? That there's conditions for fulfillment. That's exhausting, right? Non-fulfillment, struggle, trying, efforting. It might feel normal, but it's exhausting. It's not natural, right? It's not natural. Like the prodigal son, you demand your share of the kingdom because you believe you're missing something. So you're demanding it by saying, I'm going to imagine and persist, give it to me. But you're not missing anything. It's already been given you, right? You forget that you're already home, that you already have been given everything. That's what the whole story of the prodigal son, he returns home, realizing he never left home. That's the whole purpose, right? They're demanding his share of the inheritance, squandering it. That the whole message there is the inheritance is already yours. It's already been given you. You squander it by not recognizing that, by believing you're lacking something. You forget that you're already home with God, with everything you want, and that you've been given everything. That's why the father said to the son, son, you've always been with me, and all that is mine is yours. You never left. You're not missing anything. That question, that idea, that thought creates that there's something missing. There's nothing missing, right? Like the story of Esau and Jacob. You believe you have to bargain for your birthright, for what's already yours. Remember Esau was hungry. Hungry for what? That's the spiritual hunger. Hunger for a fulfillment that's already within him. Hunger to recognize that he has the birthright. Right? Remember, Jacob and Esau, they represent both of you, both sides, two sons, right? And so let's talk about this. Esau says to Jacob, Esau, remember, is hungry, right? Please feed me, for I am weary. This is you. You're exhausted. And you're asking, please feed me. Give me what I want. I'm affirming it. Why else would I affirm and persist in my wish fulfilled? If it's not to get something from 3D, not to feed me. But remember, you're already there. Esau already has the birthright. It's Esau not recognizing that. Still being spiritually poor. In other words, right? We talked about blessed are the poor, right? Spiritually poor, please feed me. I'm weary. You're Esau, exhausted from trying to bargain for what's already your right of birth, right? Remember, you're representing both Esau and Jacob in this, because Esau says to Jacob, and then what does Jacob say to Esau after Esau says, please feed me, for I am weary? Jacob says, sell me your birthright. Now Jacob, that's also you saying, okay, I've got to bargain for this. I've got to do processes. I've got to imagine it. There's a quid pro quo here. That I've got to bargain for something that's mine by right of birth. The kingdom's already been given you. You're already it. All that fear and doubt makes no sense, right? It's you observing and reacting to 3D conditions like they are out there. And that feels normal to you, right? You feel like you're kidnapped and held captive by 3D conditions, your observations of and your reactions to them. Do you see it? You feel captive and kidnapped by these conditions. You observe them and then react to them, right? So that was the story of Esau and Jacob. Now I want to talk about a story I've talked about in an older video now. The story of the princess, the palace, and the fish market. I think it was the author Alan Cohen who wrote a story based on the Course in Miracles that this story came from. The princess was kidnapped as a child and lived with fishmongers. So the princess, the king and queen's daughter, as a child was kidnapped and lived with fishmongers. She grew up in an environment of lack, of struggle, of hawking things, piles of fish, smelling like fish. Then years later, she was found by the king's servants and then returned to the palace. Now you know, this is you, right? She was welcomed home to the elegance of the royal palace, right? Her room was beautiful. It was plush. It had a beautiful view. It had fine linens, flowers, beautiful smells, aromas, and the servants were at her beck and call, giving her whatever she wanted, right? But during her first night, she tossed and turned and she cried out, "Get me out of here. I want to go home." She believed her real home was with the fishmongers, right? In the lack, in the limitation, in not having what she wants. That felt normal to her. That felt like her home, the struggle, the fish, the smells, right? The shabby conditions felt like her home. It felt normal to her. But her real home is the kingdom. It's already been given. She's already home, and she's always been home. Right? That's who she really is. Who she really is, her birthright, is a princess, is the kingdom, the Son of God, right? Get me out of here. I want to go home. That's the fear, unable to accept your blessings. That goes to that question from that other subscriber who said, I fear that I'm not able to accept that identity. Right? What am I missing? You're not missing anything. You've been given it all, but you're tossing and turning because it doesn't feel normal to you. But it's natural. It's your birthright. And you're saying, get me home. You're believing that the limitations, those limited perceptions of 3D reality, of lack, of not having fulfillment, of struggle, of effort, of exhaustion, you're believing that is reality, but it's not. This is reality. The plush palace, the beautiful view, the beautiful smells. Right? She didn't realize, she didn't remember that she was already home. That's what all processes are for help you to remember, like the princess, that you're already home. Those unimaginable riches, abundance, beauty, and fulfillment was her birthright. That's what's natural. Her name is I Am Awareness. That's you. She was used to the normal dwelling place of lack, the normal dwelling place of poverty, of non-fulfillment, of struggle, of effort, of exhaustion. So the processes and techniques are there to help you remember your way back to the palace, that you never left the palace. That's the real message. That's what all processes are for. To remember that you never left, that it's already yours. That you are fulfilled, not to get something, not to bring something in 3D, to say that you are 3D reality, that it is projected from within you, that within you is everything you want. That's a powerful message today. So you're like the princess, tossing and turning, imagining and affirming, crying out, get me out of here, right? Or what am I missing? Same thing, get me out of here, what am I missing? Not realizing and remembering that you're already the person you desire to be. You already have all that you desire. You're already in the palace, right? Even though those shabby quarters and living conditions of non-fulfillment feel normal to you, of fear, of doubt, of effort, they are not natural. They are not your birthright. Absolute perfect fulfillment and all your wishes fulfilled here and now is your nature, is your I am. That's why you affirm and persist, to remember that. I've been affirming and imagining my wish fulfilled. What am I missing? Nothing, except the recognition, the remembrance of who you really are. I am your host, Tom Kearin, and this is the Be Something Wonderful studio of higher consciousness, where we help you level up and become the best version of yourself. Creators, thank you. Thank you for being with me. Thank you for liking and sharing and commenting on the videos. Thank you for being part of our Facebook group, the Be Something Wonderful Ambassadors at facebook.com/groups/Be Something Wonderful, for joining us on Instagram and Twitter at Tom Kearin, for joining our TikTok at Be Something Wonderful, and for being part of our membership channel. Yesterday, we had a big live stream. We answered a lot of questions. That's available on the channel. We also released a big video on the membership channel yesterday. If you're a member, check them out. If you're not, there's a link below if you want to check it out. Creators, with great love, with great light and infinite gratitude, this is Tom here in the studios of Be Something Wonderful in Las Vegas. Until next time, we'll see you soon.